So there we have young Billy Casper with his kestrel, and it's a Barry Hines memorial. Obviously Barry Hines wrote the book Kestrel for a Knave, and the film Kes by Ken Loach was voted the 7th greatest British film of the 20th century. But it did fail to open in Chicago, and this was attributed to the issues that the Americans had with understanding the Yorkshire accents, which I find it hard to believe. Come on, it can't be that bad. Colin Welland, who played Mr. Farthing, a teacher in the film, try and capture those birds as we're doing Kes. He actually got an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. And he also went on to win another Academy Award for writing, and I didn't know this, Chariots of Fire. Who knew? So Dougie Brown and Lynn Perry, who both appeared in Kes, they're actually brother and sister in real life. And Lynn Perry obviously went on to play Ivy Tilsey for many years in Coronation Street. Now here's a question for you. We all know Brian Glover played a PE teacher in Kes, and we remember him pretending to be Billy Bremner and all the rest of it, and taking over from the kids, you know, for his own glory. Classic scene. But what was that PE teacher's name? Shall I let you know, or do you want to let me know in the comments? Tell you what I'll do, let me know in the comments. I know, but do you? No cheating. So I'm going to read what it says if you can't read it. Barry Hines, 1939 to 2016, an inspirational author and teacher, and the funds were raised by the Kes Group, funded entirely by private donations with the support of Barnsley Metropolitan Borough Council. So there we are. I actually got a copy of this. One of my favourite films is Kes, and I actually got a copy on video cassette, videotape. I think it was either VHS or what had been Betamax. I think it was VHS. It's still 3/4 of the way through. I just can't watch what Judd does. Now, the actor who played Judd was called Freddie Fletcher, and he was a local to Barnsley. And after Kes, he starred in a couple of things. He was in Queenie's Castle, playing one of Dinah Dawes' wayward sons. But what I found really interesting was he actually had a cameo, a small part as a landlord, in a film starring Sean Bean called When Saturday Comes. I don't know if you saw that, set in Sheffield. And he played a character called Judd. So, nice little homage to Kes there, really. And he was recommended for the part by Sean Bean himself. That film came out in 1996, so check it out. It's actually quite a good film. Emily Lloyd's in it. Pete Postlethwaite, I'll talk about him a little bit more later. So the charter for a market for Barnsley goes as far back as 1249. Just recently, very recently actually, announced on the 6th of February, it was voted, this place here, called the Glassworks, was voted the best large indoor market in the country by the National Association of British Markets. Now that's some accolade. There's a number of reasons why it's won this award. It encourages new traders, but it also looked after the established ones as well. But it's got a real firm commitment in nurturing young talent, and has seen a significant increase in young traders by doing so. And they do have a monthly young trader market platform, which is great because it allows that space for budding entrepreneurs to showcase skills and creativity. It actively supports startups with enterprise in Barnsley, so it's very much pivotal to community life in Barnsley. So I'll just show you the artwork upstairs, where the market kitchen is in Barnsley, part of the Glassworks, and it's very posh. Pardon? It's lovely, this place.
It is, but it's freezing outside.
Oh, it is. It's freezing cold, my love.
God, it's warm in
I've got my big coat on. So as you can see, there's lots of lovely places to eat and drink here. And I think what's really good about this is a lot of the places to eat and drink are independents rather than the usual suspects that you see in a lot of places. You know, your mainstream brands. It's always good to support locals, independents. So I think it's great. It's very clean up here, spotlessly clean actually. And we'll have a little mooch around. What a fabulous market. No wonder it's won that award. Very friendly staff as well. As I came in, I told them I'd sent an email over asking permission. They had a look at the email. Straight away, yeah, no problem. Have a walk round. Really kind, really friendly. No hostility whatsoever. Ooh, look at those cakes. Ooh. Blimey. Just bought an half a stone looking at those cakes. Great place to meet and eat. Obviously it looks like it's got a good Wi-Fi. That gentleman doing his work there, which is great. So if you just want to come and chill out, have a brew. I mean, there really is something for everyone. Your pet supplies and beauticians. It's great. Really is a high street in a building. It's great to see the vinyl coming back. Look at the price on it now. I used to be a DJ at one time, and I remember having loads and loads of vinyl, and it was just taking up so much space. I got it out the loft, as you do, and it was just everywhere. So I went up to the tip one day and just tipped the lot. You know, there must have been about, oh gosh, well, there was a couple of bootfuls, put it that way. And now all the vinyl's come back, hasn't it? So I'm a bit gutted about that. I thought it was a a dying breed. Silly old me. You can see all the birds here. Look at all those birds on top of the glassworks there. All chilling out. Well, the glassworks certainly gets the vote of the local pigeon population. Look at this. So in the distance there, you've got Barnsley Football Club, who play at Oakwell, named after a tree in a well, where it was. So many years ago, in 1887, stood a tree and a well. And that year, this ground was built that opened a year later in 1888, called Oakwell. Now the West Stand still actually has the old wooden flip-up seats that you very rarely see these days. A few facts about Oakwell. Well, Man City used it once for a UEFA Cup game because all the concerts and various bits and bobs they had at their stadium, it meant that the grass needed to be returfed and didn't have anywhere to play, so they used Oakwell, which is quite interesting, isn't it? Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. Now, they played their very first Super League game in 1998. Guess where? Yep, Oakwell. Also in 1998, they helped Wakefield again with Wakefield and Emley playing Rotherham in an FA Cup game here. So Barnsley has been very kind to the city of Wakefield over the years. Oakwell's the first stadium in English football that created a dedicated stand for disabled supporters. Now then, the West Stand, which is half covered and half open, was designed by Archibald Leach and is one of the last remaining stands of this type. And Leach, he got into designing stadiums when he was commissioned to design Ibrox. You can see the sign there, Barnsley Football Club, so if you ever come here, welcome to Oakwell. Very, very popular spot this in Barnsley. And it's no surprise really when you have a look at their socials and how quirky and friendly they are on there. Take a look, it's really good fun. They've got gyms, swimming pools, they have tributes on here. Adventure Reef for the kids, sip and paint, all kinds of different things. They're really making a go of it. It's a fabulous building. Kind of makes me a little bit envious that I don't live in Barnsley, because I tell you what, I'd be here all the while. It's great. And it's good because gyms are sometimes a little bit ominous, aren't they? You feel a little bit, I don't know, disconcerted when you enter through the doors, but this one, it just seems like a really approachable place to go and do your training. It was opened in 1989 by no other than Neil Kinnock. We all remember him. And it's actually had some recognition worldwide by holding the 10-pin bowling events in 2006, 7 and 8. And also Professional Darts Corporation's Pro Tour has been here as well, so it's done well, world renowned. You can see this building here, the National Union of Mine Workers. Now obviously most of you will be fully au fait and aware of Barnsley's history with mining, the terrible times it went through when the pits were closed. And it decimated the area, it really did. And that's a beautiful, beautiful sculpture. Although very sad, very dark. You can see the emotion in the work. Now, obviously, I want to be very positive about what I cover, but I think it's really, really important to take a look at this and look at the detail. Look at that. It's incredible. Now Graham Ibbotson, he's recently had a exhibition at the Coal Mining Museum just up the road called Coal Queens to Comedy Kings, and features the likes of Ken Dodd, Eric Morecambe, Stan Lovell, who all have a link to coal mining. Eric Morecambe was a Bevan boy, Ken Dodd's father was a coal merchant, Stan Lovell worked down the pit. I believe there was 10 pieces in total. Now coal mining existed in Barnsley for roughly 180 years. It's very much embedded in the culture and psyche of the town. And I just love these streets. Just look at them, the houses, wonderful. And you can imagine how it was when all the coal fires were lit and burning, and all the chimneys, and how it looked then and how it looks now. Now if you know your cricket, you've got to know who this Yorkshire legend is. Harold Dickie Bird, very well known umpire from these parts. You can see there he was also the president of the Yorkshire County Cricket Club. Now they did have to elevate this statue because when it was originally placed it wasn't high enough, and there were people, revellers, hanging what people say as inappropriate items on that finger, which is quite funny really. And I'm sure Dickie Bird would have found that quite amusing, because he was something of a character. Yeah, one of the most famous sons of Barnsley, and it's a wonderful statue by Graham Ibbotson, absolutely wonderful. You can see it was unveiled on the 30th of June 2009. When Dickie Bird was featured on This Is Your Life, the host of This Is Your Life on that occasion was another famous Barnsley son, Michael Parkinson. Now he's quite an interesting character, is Michael, or Sir Michael Parkinson, CBE, or Sir Dr. Michael Parkinson, CBE, to give him all his titles. He received an honorary doctorate from the University of Lincoln and a diploma of literature from the University of Huddersfield as well. So he had diplomas and awards and all kinds of things coming out of his ears, did Parky. And when he received his knighthood, and this is so typically Barnsley, I quote, "I'm not the type to get a knighthood," coming as he did from Barnsley. "They give it to anyone nowadays." I can't do a Barnsley accent, but you can just hear him now, can't you? And Parky said the most interesting guest he interviewed over the years, it wasn't Rod Hull and Emu, you can be sure of that. It was Muhammad Ali. And those of you of a certain vintage will remember that interview, and it was fabulous. As were quite a lot of his interviews. Billy Connolly, even Peter Kay, I mean, that was class. So if you're going to repurpose a building into a pub, why not repurpose the old courthouse? Okay, there's a large bronze statue outside the town hall in Barnsley. Obviously it's under conservation at the moment, it's getting a little bit of a spruce up, but it's the Barnsley War Memorial, and it depicts a serviceman wearing an overcoat and steel helmet holding a rifle. An inscription reads, "In honoured memory of the men and women of Barnsley who laid down their lives in the Great War 1914 to 1918 and then 1939 to 1945. It was unveiled by Lieutenant General Sir Charles H. Harrington on the 11th of October 1925. It was actually a few years before the town hall, which I'm just going to pan round to now, which you can see is a phenomenal building. Look at that. And I will show you over the road a better perspective of this magnificent building. Now, George Orwell wasn't that impressed though, really, to be honest. I mean, I'm sure he appreciated the architecture. However, when he came to Barnsley in 1936 and stayed in miners' accommodation, he actually felt that the council spent far too much money on this building, and the money should have been given to improve the living conditions of the miners. What do you think, folks? Has he got a point, or are you proud of your town hall? And we've got the rusty comb there in front, another famous sculpture. In my hometown of Whitby, it's the same sculptor who created the Captain Cook statue, which is very famous. All those people that come to Whitby for a break, and you see it on the West Cliff near the whalebones, well, it's the same sculptor. John Tweed he's called. In my videos, I'm not scared to transcend centuries of history. I can go from Rodan, John Tweed, the Town Hall. And what's the significance of Barnsley College? Well, apart from it being a great college, Alex Turner and Matt Elders of the Arctic Monkeys, they both studied here 2002 to 2004, now that's good. And when they went out to possibly hedonism or other clubs, I bet they look good on the dance floor. There you go, dad jokes, I'll keep them coming, I'm here all day. This was written by the Bard of Barnsley, Ian Macmillan. Barnsley's fierce love holds you forever in its heart. It's a wonderful sentence. I think it's the use of the word fierce that makes it for me. Fierce love. And Ian Macmillan, well known around these parts as the Bard of Barnsley, like I say. But did you know he was nominated for a chair of poetry at Oxford University? He's known for various works such as 12 Days of Barnsley, the Barnsley poem, Sonnet No. 1, Poet in Lockdown. And he does say quite famously that Barnsley is the filter I see everything through. So what else do we know about Barnsley? What's it famous for? Well, there's the Barnsley chop, a lamb chop, but it's not just one. It's 2 pieces of lamb fillet and 2 pieces of loin nestled on the bone. So it's a double chop. And it may have originated at the Brooklands Hotel in Barnsley. So it contains meat from both sides actually of the loin. Very famous around these parts, the old Barnsley chop. And Barnsley folk, well, they're known as tykes. A lot of the places that are spelt W-O-R-T-H at the end, well, they're just abbreviated locally to Wath. So you've got Wath, you've got Cuddoth, you've got Doddoth, and that kind of thing. To name but 2 that I can remember. So if I get any of the pronunciation wrong, I do apologise. Trying my best. So traditionally then, way back when, it was very much a tradition of weaving in Barnsley. That's what it was famous for. And then glass making. And Barnsley had the very first glass recycling and bottle bank place, or site, whatever you want to call it. I think that was in around about 1977-ish. And what does the name Barnsley mean? Well, does it mean a wood or a clearing? I mean, there is one I looked up, it said Bourne's Wood or Clearing. Another one was a little bit more modern in its English explanation of barn clearing or a storehouse in a field. It actually grew quite slowly, did Barnsley. In the 16th century, there was only around about 600 people lived here. A couple of things I haven't mentioned. There's the Lamproom Theatre, and my partner actually did a play there once. She said it's very intimate, but a beautiful small theatre. And there's a street or a road, a thoroughfare called, now we're going to have to excuse my pronunciation, Schwabisch Gmund. Schwabisch Gmund. And that's named after a town in Germany that Barnsley is twinned with, if you're ever wondering. Famous musicians from Barnsley. Well, just down the road in Penistone, we've got Kate Rusby. Is that the right pronunciation? Or is it Rusby? Apologies if it's wrong. And good old rockers, Saxon. Now come on. You can't get any more Barnsley than Saxon, can you really? You can just almost feel the thud of the metal. Just continuing the theme of the reinvention of Barnsley. Lots of modern structures. Barnsley Interchange. Lots of culture as well. So yet another fabulous building, Barnsley Civic. On Eldon Street. Plays host to a number of live acts, comedians, that kind of thing. And it's not often you see cinemas that look like this. It's a real step back in time, isn't it? Okay, so I'm outside the rehearsal room of the world-famous, world-renowned Grimethorpe Colliery Band, as you can see on the blue plaque. Founded in 1917 and stars of the film Brassed Off. Now, it's a great film, Brassed Off. I don't know if you've seen it, with Pete Postlethwaite. I thought it mattered. I thought music mattered. I won't say the next bit for obvious reasons. But this band here, they're actually quite famous themselves, you know. They've played on the Pyramid stage of Glastonbury with Coldplay, no less. Because Chris Martin, you know, he likes the odd brass band here and there. And a trombonist, Andy Cato, left the Grimethorpe Colliery Band and went on to form Groove Armada. Who'd have thought it? Now, obviously, you saw all the actors play the instruments, so to speak, in the film Brassed Off, but it wasn't them playing, it was the actual band, Grimethorpe Colliery Band, so they did all the music. Okay, so just to finish off the day in Barnsley, we've come to a village called Dodworth, and the reason why we've come, we're having our tea here, and we thought we'd come here because the chippy that we've come to is in the top 10 of the fish and chip takeaways in the whole country in 2026, and there's a strong possibility it could actually win still. So, and that's by the National Federation of Fish Fryers. So we're going to have a little look and see what this gives us. So I'm just going to try the chips first. Yeah, the chips are lovely, really nice. The fish though, it's not the biggest portion, I've got to say, because this was around about £13. I did get a can as well. About £13 for this with the peas as well, but we'll try some of the fish. It's all cooked to order. It does look nice and fresh. Look at that, nice white meat. Yeah, it's lovely actually. The batter's nice and thin and crispy. And look at that, look at the whiteness of that cod. Beautiful. So I can... Okay, so the peas are quite watery. But let's have a little taste, that's the most important thing. Really nice. So there we are. Yeah, about 13 quid for this. It was a cod box. And you get the little drink as well. I chose a Rubicon. There we are. So this is Shaw's in Dodworth.